You got people that are resentful towards her. But she is really not about her, guys. It's about what she represents.
To be clear, Caitlin Clark is being fouled at a record rate. Some of them are brutal fouls, and a lot of the refs are looking the other way.
Fortunately, it's creating a textbook hostile work environment for Caitlin Clark. And under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, the federal government does have an ability to engage.
All right, so the bombshell just hit, and it's not pretty at all. Caitlin Clark just announced she's done for the season after enduring months of vicious hits, getting zero protection from refs, and dealing with constant disrespect. Yeah, you heard that right. The WNBA's brightest star is officially stepping back. And this isn't about her being unable to handle it. This is about a league that basically pretended she was invisible while she was getting destroyed.
But despite all that success that she's immediately had, the league has basically looked the other way as she's been targeted on a weekly basis.
When Caitlin burst into the picture with the Indiana fever, everything changed overnight. The WNBA suddenly discovered what genuine stardom actually felt like. Look, we've seen talented rookies come and go, absolutely, but this was something completely different. She wasn't just another player joining the roster. She immediately transformed into the league's biggest draw, their main attraction, their moneymaker. Call it whatever you want. Clark was that player.
Okay, because she's brilliant, right? That's why she's wreaking havoc, because she is so...
Check out these statistics because they tell the whole story better than any sports headline ever could. League app engagement skyrocketed by 13%. Seriously, who was even downloading the WNBA app before Clark arrived? Basically nobody until she stepped onto the court. Subscription numbers exploded by 366%. Fans were literally opening their wallets to follow the league the second she made her debut, and merchandise sales, that's absolutely insane. A 600% spike. Everyone wanted to rep Clark's jersey, her name, her number. But here's what really blows your mind, what she did for the Indiana Fever. Their franchise value tripled overnight. Just think about that for a minute. Tripled. They went from being practically forgotten to becoming one of the most valuable franchises because of a single player. One rookie changed everything.
Attention about Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark has had a seismic impact on the WNBA ever since she first joined. Merchandise sales.
But somehow this incredible success triggered the biggest controversy the league has ever seen. You'd expect the WNBA to celebrate, build monuments, maybe wrap her in protective gear to keep her healthy. Instead, she completely overshadowed three-time MVP Aja Wilson, and the league went into complete meltdown mode. The reason? A white rookie was accomplishing what seasoned veterans couldn't achieve, and suddenly we weren't just discussing basketball anymore. We were diving into politics, massive egos, and pure jealousy.
Right after she was drafted and heading into her rookie year, Aja Wilson, who is a three-time MVP of the league, she's won the championship for the Las Vegas Aces, she came out and addressed the attention that Caitlin Clark is.
The wild part is Clark never wanted any of this controversy. She simply showed up to play ball. But the moment her highlights dominated every sports channel, everything exploded. The backlash came fast and furious. It wasn't hidden, it wasn't respectful, and it definitely wasn't safe. So here's the shocking news, she's walking away. That's the major announcement. She's done for the season. Not because her skills disappeared, absolutely not. It's because she's been completely demolished on the court and emotionally drained off it.
She is taking on harder fouls and at a higher rate than any of her peers. So it turns out that in her rookie season, she absorbed 17% of all flagrant fouls, or hard fouls.
Time to break down the numbers again, because while the hostility seemed personal, the statistics made everything crystal clear. Caitlin Clark absorbed 17% of all flagrant and hard fouls across the entire WNBA this season. Just pause and let that sink in for a moment. A single player, just one person, receiving almost 1/5 of the league's most vicious hits. And here's the kicker, that percentage is more than double the second place player. Double. That's not even close competition. That's being hunted.
Boils her blood when people try and say that it's not about race. And so, unfortunately, it seems like there's a lot of commentary that's being made by players when they're on camera and they know reporters are watching.
These weren't gentle bumps either. We're seeing full-speed collisions, brutal shoulder slams, the type of contact you'd witness in football, not professional basketball. Meanwhile, while Clark was getting pummeled every other night, the referees apparently decided to become invisible. Viral footage captured her getting fouled multiple times on single plays with 0 calls. Nothing. Complete silence. Refs standing around like they forgot what job they were hired to do.
More than double the rate of any of her peers. This is not something that you would see occur to any other top star in any other league. And I think a lot of fans are scratching their heads of why the league is allowing this to continue.
And the best part, not a single player faced suspension for these actions. 0. It didn't matter how obvious the foul looked, how many replay angles went viral online, or how shocked the audiences became. No consequences. The league simply ignored everything. Explain to me how that's acceptable. One expert put it bluntly, she's one flagrant foul away from a career-ending injury. And look what happened. She's officially out for the season.
There's a lot of jealousy and animosity, and that can be understood, right? If you've been a VP of the league in the past, yet you were unable to achieve the...
Here's where things get really heated, because this disaster goes way beyond just hard fouls. This isn't simply tough basketball culture. Nah, it goes much deeper than that. Aja Wilson was completely direct when she spoke up. Race is a huge thing. It boils my blood when people say it's not. That's a 3-time MVP dropping racial accusations on live television. No hesitation, and suddenly it becomes obvious that Clark isn't just dealing with physical hits on court. She's shouldering the burden of a cultural war she never volunteered to fight.
Unable to achieve the visibility and perhaps the endorsements that Caitlin Clark has received right out of the gate, it shows that it's normal to assume that there would be some degree of resentment. However, the concern is that resentment is then leading to targeting on the court.
Veteran black players who've been working in this league for years without media attention, major endorsements, or national recognition are obviously frustrated because a white rookie showed up and grabbed all the spotlight. And honestly, I understand their disappointment, but when that frustration becomes physical retaliation on the court, that's when we're facing a completely different situation.
Because Ms. Clark's civil rights are being violated as she is targeted on the court, the basketball court, and no one's protecting her. Is that what you're saying?
The reality is Clark never brought up race, never blamed anyone, never acted like a victim. But the instant she became the league's poster child, the resentment exploded and the targeting followed. She essentially became the target for decades of overlooked black excellence. And while that conversation deserves attention, it absolutely shouldn't be resolved through violence and dirty plays. That cannot be allowed to continue.
That is the weirdest thing in the world, but it is what it is, and I'm glad that Caitlin has a great head on her shoulders.
Even her own teammate Sophie Cunningham had to speak the truth. The star player of the league is not being protected. That tells you everything you need to know, not from opponents, not from critics. Her actual teammate called out the entire league, and when you're getting attacked regularly with nobody stepping in to help, that's not sports anymore. That's a legal case waiting to be filed. Clark basically did for the WNBA what Michael Jordan accomplished for the NBA. From a legal perspective, this is a perfect example of hostile work environment. Under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, you don't need someone screaming racist words to prove racial discrimination. Unequal treatment and systematic negligence is plenty, and if this reaches the courtroom, the WNBA will need to justify how their most valuable player was allowed to be targeted like this, without even a simple warning.
And the amount Caitlin Clark is being fouled compared to any of her peers in the league, or the treatment that she receives compared to any other top stars in any other leagues, there's no comparison to it.
So because of all this madness, here we are. Caitlin Clark, the sole reason most of America even knows the WNBA still exists, is finished for the season. She arrived wanting to play basketball, shattered every rookie marketing milestone possible, and wound up getting brutalized on the court while being frozen out politically. She's injured, angry, and probably questioning why she ever joined this league to begin with.
Instead of protecting its transformative star, the league's leadership ignores the relentless targeting of Miss Clark, treating its greatest asset as if she were a PR headache.
The Wall Street Journal didn't sugarcoat anything. They directly stated it. The WNBA is facing a civil rights lawsuit just waiting to explode. It's not even rumors anymore. It's a legal disaster ticking louder with every ignored foul, every questionable non-call. And now the league's executives are under intense pressure, whether they want to be or not.
Very obviously ratcheted down.
Let's get real. This stopped being a simple officiating problem a long time ago. We're discussing a clear pattern of behavior that screams discrimination from every angle. Remember that landmark case from 1993, Harris v. Forklift Systems? That crucial ruling established that a hostile work environment doesn't require physical violence to be valid. You just need repeated degrading behavior that makes someone miserable every time they show up to work. Sound familiar? This is exactly what she represents.
Before she ever came along, there were a lot of outstanding basketball players who happened to be black females.
Maybe Caitlin Clark's civil rights are actually being violated. Is her right to a peaceful workplace, a non-hostile work environment, are those rights being violated?
And is to just look away.
And so she's facing a hostile work environment. Unfortunately, it appears that it does impact a protected class, her race, as evidenced by quotes by players in the league. And there is a federal element here to where the government can intervene, and we've already seen this.
Time race has really gotten to this level. Why do you think the referees don't protect her more?
I think that's a great question. And I think the one key that, the 17% of flagrant fouls that she receives versus others, that's just based on calls that have actually been, that the referees actually call.
Doesn't get to play under these circumstances, where these girls are just going out there and playing basketball.
Clark shattered fan vote records with 1.29 million all-star votes, yet ranked only 9th among guards on the player ballot.